Alpine class, it's story time again and we're ready for chapter 2 of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. "Go home as quickly as you can," said the fawn. "And can you ever forgive me for what I meant to do?" "Why, of course I can," said Lucy. "And I hope you don't get into trouble on my account." "Farewell, daughter of Eve," said Mr. Tumnus. "Perhaps I may keep the handkerchief?" "Of course. Goodbye," called Lucy, running towards the wardrobe door. Soon, instead of rough branches brushing past her, she felt soft coats, and all at once she was stepping out into the empty spare room. Lucy ran into the hall where Peter, Susan and Edmund were still standing. "I'm here," she shouted. "I've come back. I'm all right." "What are you talking about, Lucy?" said Susan, for to them no time had passed at all. Lucy told them excitedly that the wardrobe was magic. "There's a wood inside it, and it's snowing, and there's a fawn and a witch. It's called Narnia. Come and see." The others did not know what to think, and followed her back into the room. But when Susan pulled the fur coats apart, all they saw was the back of the wardrobe with hooks on it. Peter rapped his knuckles on it to make sure that it was solid. Poor Lucy couldn't understand it at all, and the others simply thought she was making it all up. The next day, the children decided to play hide and seek. Lucy went at once to the wardrobe. She wanted to have one more look inside it, for she was beginning to wonder whether Narnia hadn't been a dream. Meanwhile, Edmund, who could be quite spiteful, secretly followed Lucy to tease her about her imaginary country. He came into the room just to see her vanishing inside the wardrobe. Jumping in after her, Edmund closed the door behind him, forgetting what a silly thing this is to do. To his astonishment, he found himself in the middle of a snowy wood. Lucy was nowhere to be seen, and everything was perfectly still, as if he were the only living creature around. Then Edmund heard the sound of bells. It came nearer and nearer, and moments later a sledge swept into sight, driven by a fat dwarf. Behind him sat a great lady, covered in white fur up to her throat. She held a long, straight golden wand in her hand and wore a golden crown. Her face was white like snow, beautiful and proud. "Stop!" ordered the lady. "And what, pray, are you?" she asked, looking hard at Edmund. My name's Edmund," he replied. The lady frowned. "Is that how you address a queen?" she asked sternly. "But I repeat, what are you, an overgrown dwarf?" "No, I'm a boy, your majesty," said Edmund. "A son of Adam," hissed the queen, and raised her wand. Just as Edmund thought she was going to do something dreadful, she suddenly said in a quite different voice, "My poor child, how cold you look. Come and sit with me." Edmund dared not disobey. He stepped onto the sledge, and the queen wrapped her warm fur mantle around him. "Now, what would you like to eat?" she asked. "Turkish delight, please, your majesty," said Edmund. The queen took out a small bottle and let one drop fall onto the snow. Instantly, there appeared a box of Turkish delight. Edmund had never tasted anything more delicious in his life. While he was eating, the queen asked him some questions. She got him to tell her that he had a brother and 2 sisters, and that one of his sisters had already been in Narnia and met a faun. At last, the Turkish delight was finished. Edmund wished he could have some more. He did not know that the Turkish delight was enchanted, and that anyone who'd once tasted it would want more and more of it. The Queen knew quite well what Edmund was thinking, but instead of offering him any more, she said, "Son of Adam, I should so much like to meet your brother and your 2 sisters. Will you bring them to me? Because if you did come again, you could eat Turkish delight all day long. I have no children of my own, and as you are the cleverest and handsomest young man I've ever met, I think I'd like to make you the Prince of Narnia." Then she pointed her wand. "You only have to look for those 2 hills rising above the trees and walk towards them to reach my house. But remember, you must bring the others." "I'll do my best," agreed Edmund. "You needn't tell them about me," said the Queen. "It would be fun to keep it a secret between us 2. Make it a surprise for them." As the sledge swept away, she called, "Don't forget, come soon." Edmund was still staring after it when he heard Lucy calling for him. That's the end of chapter 2. Tune in again tomorrow for chapter 3.